Right now, thousands of people are sitting on the floor of Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. No flight, no hotel, no plan. And here's the thing, some of them are completely fine, and some of them are financially destroyed. Same airport, same storm, same canceled flight, two completely different outcomes. And the difference has nothing to do with luck. Today, the FAA issued a ground stop at DFW. Over 300 flights canceled, hundreds more delayed, tens of thousands of people stranded across one of the busiest airports in the country. And yeah, it's a travel nightmare, but I don't really care about the flights. I care about what this moment just exposed about the way most Americans handle money. Because a ground stop at an airport is just a dramatic version of something that happens to people financially every single day, and nobody's talking about it that way. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, financial psychology, and why some people bounce back from disasters while others get completely buried by them. If that's the kind of thing you want to understand, hit subscribe, because what I'm about to show you applies way beyond airports. Here's what today actually costs someone in the real world. Rebooking fee, anywhere from $0 to $400 depending on your ticket type. Hotel room near a major airport on zero notice, $180 to $300 a night minimum. Food while you wait. Ground transportation. A missed day of work. Maybe a missed event that costs someone else money too. When you add it up, one canceled flight runs the average traveler $500 to $1,200 out of pocket before the airline gives you a single dime back. And here's where it gets really interesting. For some people, that $800 surprise is annoying, genuinely irritating, but it's just an inconvenience. They rebook the flight, book the hotel, go find the airport bar. Done. For other people, and this is the majority of Americans, that same $800 is a crisis. A real, legitimate financial emergency that could mean overdrafting their account, maxing out a credit card, or calling someone to borrow money. Same storm, same canceled flight. Two completely different financial realities. A Federal Reserve survey found that 37% of Americans couldn't cover a $400 unexpected expense without borrowing money or selling something. Not $800, $400. Which means that right now, sitting in that airport, roughly 1 in 3 people just had their entire month financially wrecked by a thunderstorm in Texas. Think about that for a second. A weather event, something completely outside anyone's control, and it just functionally wiped out a third of the people in that building. I want to talk about something I call your financial ground stop distance. It's the number of unexpected dollars it takes to completely halt your financial life. Like an airport ground stop, nothing moves, everything is delayed, people are panicking, and you're at the mercy of forces outside your control. For most Americans, that distance is shockingly small. We're talking $400 to $1,000 before everything grinds to a halt. And here's the brutal part about having a tiny financial ground stop distance. It's not just about the money. It's about what happens to your brain when you're that close to the edge all the time. Research shows that financial scarcity, the constant low-grade anxiety of not being able to absorb the next hit, it literally impairs your decision-making, measurably. The cognitive load of financial stress reduces your effective mental capacity by the equivalent of losing a full night of sleep every single day, just from worrying about money. So the people in that DFW terminal who are financially stressed right now, they're not just stressed about the flight. Their brains are running 1,000 calculations simultaneously. What does this cost? What do I cut to cover it? Is there enough on the card? Can I float this until Friday? What if the rebooked flight gets canceled too? It's an exhausting mental tax that people with financial margin never pay. And that tax compounds. It affects your work, your relationships, every decision you make for the next week. But the people who are fine, the ones who ordered the airport pizza and opened a book, their brains aren't doing any of that. They have margin. And margin is, in my opinion, the most underrated financial asset in existence. It's not sexy. Nobody's making content about it. But it's the thing that separates people who are fine when life hits from people who spiral. Here's what most people get wrong about building financial margin. They think it's about being disciplined enough to not spend. But that's backwards. Discipline is the output. Margin is the input. When you have enough cushion that a $1,000 surprise doesn't destroy your month, everything changes. You stop making fear-based decisions. You stop taking the first job offer because you desperately need the money. You stop staying in situations that are bad for you because leaving feels too risky. The money buys you something that has nothing to do with money. It buys you the cognitive space to actually think clearly and build wealth, instead of just surviving until next Thursday. Now, let me get specific, because build an emergency fund is advice everyone's heard and almost nobody follows. And I think it's because the target feels impossibly far away. So instead of talking about 6 months of expenses, let's talk about the milestones that actually move the needle. Level 1 is $1,000. $1,000 in a separate account you do not touch. Not your checking, not your regular savings, a separate, dedicated account. That single move statistically increases your financial well-being by about 21%, according to Vanguard's research. Not 21% more money, 21% better financial outcomes across the board. That's it, $1,000. It keeps you out of the debt spiral for most common emergencies. Level 2 is 1 month of expenses. For most people watching this, that's $2,500 to $4,000. At this level, you just survived the DFW scenario without a credit card. You handled it, you moved on. No debt, no panic. It cost you, but it didn't hurt you. Level 3 is 3 months. And this is where something real shifts. Because now you're not just surviving the storm, you're watching it from a distance. A canceled flight is annoying. A car repair is an inconvenience. A job disruption is manageable. You have time. And financially, time is everything. Here's the thing about financial ground stop distance that I really want you to understand. Every dollar you add expands it. You're not just saving money, you're buying cognitive freedom in increments. $500 further from the edge is $500 less anxiety every single morning you wake up. That compounds in ways that don't show up on a spreadsheet, but completely change your life. Now, here's the version of this story I see play out constantly, and it genuinely frustrates me. Someone works hard, cuts back, builds up $2,000 or $3,000 in savings. And then, the moment something goes wrong, they drain it, back to zero. Which means the next unexpected thing hits just as hard. And they never escape the cycle because every time they build a little cushion, life immediately takes it. The problem isn't that they're bad with money. The problem is that their ground stop distance never got large enough to survive a real hit. And the fix is counterintuitive. Before you invest, before you aggressively pay down debt, before you optimize anything else, you get the buffer to level 2. 1 full month of expenses. And you protect it like it is made of actual gold. Because for your financial life, it is. Now let's talk about the other side of this. Because there's a version of the DFW story that almost nobody covers, and it's the people who turn today's chaos into an opportunity. Think about what a ground stop does to hotels near DFW tonight. Demand spikes, prices go up. Someone who owns a short-term rental near that airport just had an incredible Tuesday. Think about rideshare drivers, food delivery, the airline lounge memberships that suddenly feel worth every penny. Financial margin doesn't just protect you from life's ground stops. It actually positions you to benefit from them in ways that sound almost uncomfortable to say out loud, but are completely real. The traveler with a solid emergency fund doesn't panic when the flight is canceled. They rebook, use their rewards points, get into the lounge, and if they're paying attention, they look for a smarter route home. They're playing offense when everyone else is playing defense. And this same energy applies to every financial disruption. Market crashes, economic downturns, industry shakeups. The people who have margin are the ones who can think clearly and act decisively when everyone else is frozen. One more thing before I wrap this up, and I need to say it directly. Do not touch the buffer for things that are not actual emergencies. I'm serious. The buffer is not a vacation fund. It's not a new phone fund. It's not an I've been really disciplined this month and I deserve a treat fund. The second you start rationalizing spending your emergency fund on non-emergencies, you've destroyed the entire purpose. Because another storm is coming. Not at DFW necessarily, but the financial version for your life absolutely is. The question has never been whether you'll face an unexpected hit. It's whether you'll be ready when it arrives. Here's what today actually revealed. The DFW ground stop stranded thousands of people physically, but financially, it exposed thousands of people who were already stranded. already operating with zero margin, already one unexpected event away from a spiral. The storm didn't care, it just happened. Just like the financial storms in your life are going to just happen, whether you're ready or not. Start with $1,000, then 1 month, then 3. Build the buffer before you optimize anything else. Because the best investment you can make right now isn't in the stock market. It's in your own financial ground stop distance. The further you are from the edge, the clearer you think, the better decisions you make, and the faster you actually build real wealth. The storm lifted at DFW this afternoon. Flights are moving again. But for a lot of people in that airport today, the financial fallout is just getting started. Don't be that person next time.